Lashpreneurs. Happy Friday to you. I am on the road. I am traveling basically all the month of July, visiting family. Grandmother-in-law's 90th birthday party, my mother-in-law's 62nd birthday party, and then my grandmother's 89th birthday party. So if your summer is as poppin' as mine, hit me up on Instagram and let me know just how raging your summer is, because mine's filled with a lot of cake and small children who are out of their routine. But nonetheless, the show must go on. And today's episode, the audio quality may not be as good, but you don't care because you're here anyways. There's been something on my heart that I feel like would be really helpful for you to hear, because in some ways I need to hear it. In a lot of ways I need to hear it. And this episode may hit you right in the gut, or this episode may be something that you'll need to save because at some point in the future, you're going to want to listen to it again. And it really comes with a simple statement, and I'll give some background as to why I believe this. But the belief is that you can do this. This whole entrepreneurship, this whole business thing. Because why can't you do it? Why not? Why not you? Of all people, why not you? Why? Because somebody doesn't believe you can do it? Because somebody challenges you, questions you, maybe somebody that's really close to you doesn't support your dreams and desires to have your own business? But is that really a reflection of your ability to do something that you've never done before? You are in a learning phase. We're all in a learning phase. I mean, I've been in business for, God, I don't even know anymore, 7 years. And I'm still learning and I'm still figuring it out. And it's still evolving and changing. And I'm having to constantly relook at, why am I doing this? And why am I choosing business ownership when there's a lot easier ways to make money? And for those of us that choose business ownership, do you know that you choose to be in charge of your future? That you're choosing responsibility for your own paycheck as opposed to somebody else being responsible for that? The majority of the world will not choose that. They choose safety and security, or belief of safety and security of somebody else being responsible for their income. But that comes with some setbacks, like waiting to get that 3% raise once a year, if that, just because they've been there a year. Whereas you choose to not have stability in your income, maybe for a couple of months, maybe for a couple of years, who knows? But you're down for the game and the journey that entrepreneurship is going to bring you. Why? Likely because the payoff, when you start to win at that game, the highs are so much higher than you could ever have in getting promoted by a manager or being at a corporation. The empowerment that comes from being the one that's in charge of your freedom, your finances, your time, that's pretty addicting. And it can also be one of the hardest things you'll ever do. And it's okay to want to quit. Hell, I did, right? Like, I walked away from my business 6 months ago and made the choice again that I really love business ownership. I was going to be a business owner no matter what when I walked away from the business. I was so buried deep in what wasn't working in the business that I didn't have clarity on what was working or what could work or where the problems were. And I was tapped out. Like, I just had nothing left to give. And so I needed to pull back and focus on myself. And, we've gone over that in the I Fired Myself episode. But you can do this. You can figure it out. You can find a way to the income level or the level of success or followers or clients or team members or number of salons or whatever the big dreams are. You can do this. You can learn how. Nobody was born knowing how to walk, how to talk, how to do math, how to read a profit and loss statement, how to do lashes, how to run a business, how to market. It's all stuff that we've learned along the way. And it's interesting when you think about kind of the narrative that we oftentimes have in our head of, God, why isn't this working? Like Instagram, I hear that all the time. Like, oh, why isn't Instagram working for me? Oh, it's not bringing me in clients. Well, how are you supposed to know how it works until you learn how it works and how to use it? It's not inherent. It's not something that's just ingrained in you and you just show up and all of a sudden, like 1,000 followers and there's $100,000 in your bank account. That's not how it works. It is a challenge and a choice to educate yourself on the areas that you think are going to help grow your business or get you to the results that you want. But in our head, we start to really self-sabotage the growth of our business and the growth of us as entrepreneurs and students of business before we even get any results. Can you imagine, like, when we see a baby getting ready to take its first steps, like, we celebrate the fact that they even like move one tiny little foot, like 3 millimeters, and we're like, oh my God, they're walking, and we have this big old celebration, and we're FaceTiming everybody, and we're recording it, we're trying to share it on social media, and we're just so excited that a new human has learned how to be a little bit independent. Like, I was watching on Instagram stories, this woman was sharing the first time her baby crawled and just how much she lit up on her face, like, oh my God, he's starting to move. Why can't we do that when we're trying something new for the first time in business? Like, why don't we have that kind of celebration when we get our first business license, or when we create a business account on social media? Like, oh, we're doing it, we're taking the first steps, congratulations, I want to document this. Yet so often our narrative is, God, I should be so much further along than I am right now. God, why isn't this happening yet? Why isn't this working? Why don't I have enough followers? I have so many followers, but nobody's booking. Why is nobody booking? Why am I not making money? And we start to shame ourselves, and we start to say things like, I must not be cut out for this. Or so-and-so is right. Like, maybe I can't do this. Or I'm not good enough. Just not good enough. My price point is too high, or my skill set isn't good enough. And we start comparing ourselves to everybody else who's been in business longer. And maybe, just maybe, the reason why other people have the success that you want, maybe it's just a matter of time because they've been in the game longer. That was a huge, huge perspective shift for me when I started doing the Lashpreneur and starting to look at all the other businesses that were teaching some sort of business and just feeling this envy or this jealousy of like, God, they're just gonna knock me out of the water. And my husband would say things like, what if they've been doing this longer? They've been doing this for 3 years and you've been doing this for 3 days. Like, calm down, slow your roll. Who's to say where you'll be 3 years from now? You may be further along. They've just had more time in the game. And sometimes that's all that's standing in the way of you and the results that you want is time to let the things that you're starting to implement take place and start to work. But oftentimes, if we don't get that instant win, if we don't blow our own minds on day one, we start to question ourselves and doubt whether this is something that we're really meant to do. Because if we were meant to do it, wouldn't we have the results that we wanted? I want to challenge that belief, because I do believe that the results that you want are totally possible for you. They just may not be possible for the version of you that exists right now, because there may be things that you need to learn along the way. And if you're anything like most business owners, you're kind of stubborn and you like to do things your way. Sometimes that means you got to learn things the hard way, that there are lessons that you still need to learn in order to get to the results and the level that you want. Because honestly, if you got all of the wants, goals, wishes, and dreams that you have right now without ever having to fail or without ever having to learn what you don't want, it won't be as sweet. It won't be as exciting. It won't be as thrilling. It won't be as empowering if you just got handed everything you ever wanted. And I hate the saying of hard work, because at least for me, hard work is what I default to. So I hate when people say you just need to work harder or you just need to hustle, because I have to do the opposite of it in order to stay sane. But there are lessons that you have to learn along the way to get to the results that you want, so that you can appreciate them and really have that feeling of joy and happiness and fulfillment and empowerment that you really are in charge of your time and your future and your finances, and that you don't have to rely on other people to be able to create stability and security in your life. So you're on that journey. And I want you to celebrate, like we do with kids in their first steps, just the fact that you are here right now listening to this, no matter where you are on the journey of entrepreneurship, whether you've started your business or not, whether you've been doing this 10 years or not, whether you've reached the level of sales that you want or not, whether you have a team or not, whether you're the best lash artist in town or not, you are exactly where you should be right now. because there's lessons that you have to learn in this moment and in this phase of your business that are going to serve you for the rest of your life. And don't you dare try to wish that time away. Just like we don't want to wish away our kids being young, because, you know, like my kids still come into my bed every single night, especially while we're traveling. And sometimes I just stay awake at night because that's the only time my daughter will let me get close to her, because she is just go, 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 go. And I don't want to wish away those moments and that time, because I know in the future I'll look back on this time and want it back. And that's the same thing to be said for your business. There are things in your business that seem so uncomplicated that you may not even recognize that they're simple and easy, that in the future they may get more complicated. You know, if you're a solo lash artist and you're fully booked and you're overwhelmed with how much demand you have for your business, I need to bring on a team. And then all of a sudden you've got a team and you're like, man, it was so much simpler when it was just me and I didn't have to deal with telling grown adults to get off their phones all day. Like, the grass is not always greener on the other side. So looking at where you're at in the journey now and having gratitude for how far you've come, that's the game that we're playing. The game that we play as entrepreneurs is, yes, we have goals, we're driven, we're motivated, we want more, but you also have to enjoy the journey along the way, because the destination never comes. We always keep throwing that carrot out just a little bit further, just a little bit further. And that's what keeps us interested, because a lot of us need that challenge. We need that something new. We need that achievement. But if all you're focusing on is the achievement and not the journey of who you're becoming along the way, you're missing the point completely. And it'll never feel good enough. And it'll never be enough. And you'll always be lacking. And you'll always want to live in the future and not in the present. So take a moment today. Say, I can do this. I am doing this. And be proud of yourself for how far you've come and where you're at today in the journey. All right, guys, until next time, I hope this episode connected with you. I know for me, it was a great reminder to be present, and to be grateful for where I'm at right now. And I hope that had the same effect on you. Till next time, have a good one.